How y'all doing? I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one's called Time to Change. Yes, yes. Look, it's always time to change. It's always time to change, because that's one thing that you have to be willing to accept it too. You have to be willing to accept change when it occurs to you. Like our bodies change every day. Sometimes you may think, but your body go through subtle changes. You go from young to old, from short, from fat to skinny. You may lose a little weight, you may gain a little weight. That's change. And, we have to be willing to accept it. Relationships change, because maybe you with somebody and you be with somebody one day and then you be happy and stuff. Then the next day you're not together no more. That's change. Then you end up dating somebody else. So it's something we can't avoid. Like down at your job. You may have to change jobs. You may have to change your position. But the wonderful thing about the human body is your adaptability. You'll be willing to adapt to that situation, especially with changing your job. So when you're doing something else, then you'll adapt to that like that. It's a lot of stuff like that. And a lot of people change where they live. You may be in a apartment and you like it, but then all of a sudden they have to sell the apartment or you have to move and stuff. Then you have to go to a different area. Yeah, you have to go to a different area. And that's change. But then slowly you'll adapt to that too. Slowly you'll adapt to it. Like you may have a dog. You may have a dog. And you love this dog. Then unfortunately the dog suddenly passes away. Yeah, it's sad to say, but dogs they pass away quick. So but when he passes away, suddenly you take another dog in. You may see a stray on the street and get friendly with the stray and petting the stray and stuff like that. Then you bring him in and then you'll adapt to that the next dog. You may be grieving for your dog that passed away, but eventually you'll take the other one in as your own. So, man, I'm telling you. And then it's attitudes change. Attitudes. Because one day, the meanest person in the world to you may be mean to you and everything, may all of a sudden have a turn. And then they be the nicest person. And vice versa. And the nicest person will become kind of standoffish or something. So you got to, they change, But that you got to accept that when it happens to you. Whenever it occurs, you have to accept it, Because change is a part of everyone's life. And like me, I'm changed. I never dreamed of coming to the Philippines. But here I am. So, and you may change. You may go to some other country or go to some other state. But it's acceptable because that's what life is about, change. Nothing stays the same. Nobody stays the same. Maybe there's change a little subtly change or something. It's not drastic or nothing like that, but sometimes you can detect when somebody's changing, you know. So, like I said, you have to be willing to accept change when it occurs, okay? You have to be willing to accept it. Because if you don't, if you buck up against it and try to stay the same, then everybody's going to pass you by. Or you'll be out without nothing. And that's a drastic change too. Being without. So, man, that's it. But everyone must go through a change. You know. Everything must go through a change, you know. All right, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. Yeah. And share. Share my videos with your family. Share my videos with your friends. Share my videos with your loved ones. And even share it with your enemies. Peace. Adios. Salamat. I gave Grace a break today. So. All right, you guys.